Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today I'm actually doing a Your EV journey, but a remote EV journey. And this is interesting because I had someone reach out to me from Canada. We're going international now here on the Out of Spec Dave channel. And my friend Mario, who I've been speaking to quite a bit, he actually sent me an email and he put together a PowerPoint with what he has done with his EV journey. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. He put a lot of energy into it. He's got a great story. The problem is he lives way up near, right outside of Montreal, north of Plattsburgh, New York. And, look, that's more than a weekend jaunt for me from Connecticut here. So I said, let's use technology and let me interview you over the internet. So this is what we're doing. And look, I'm excited to really get to know Mario and take you through his EV journey. He's put a lot of effort into this presentation he put together, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So again, thanks for joining us for another episode of Out of Spec Dave. So Mario, thank you so much for joining me here on this episode of Out of Spec Dave and Your EV Journey Remote. I'm so happy that you reached out to me. I know we've been trying to get the logistics of how could I get to, really spend some time with you. And I've got this new software that I'm working out. And I just wanted to welcome you to the channel. And maybe you could tell me a little bit about yourself and where you live and what you do. And then we'll talk about your EV journey, perhaps.
Sure. So, well, thanks for accepting the offer that I did. Basically, well, my name is Mario. I live way up north in the Great White North in Canada, a little bit in suburb from Montreal City. I live with my lovely wife, and yeah, I have not so kid anymore. I got 3 kids that are 16, 19, and 21.
Mario, I'm gonna interrupt you. You know what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, sure.
Is I'm gonna share my screen here with the EV journey slides that you put together, because I know that your first slide you actually talk about this here. So why don't you go ahead and take us now? By the way, don't get into like corporate mode on me. You know what I mean? Like I want this to be two guys talking. The fact that you got a PowerPoint going here, that's just a little bit of, butter on top of the corn. You know what I mean? So, sure. But I want you to be you, but use this as a guide and take me through this stuff.
All right. So, yeah. So like I said, I live with my wife. I have 3 kids. I own basically a Nissan Leaf now since the Gen 2 since 4 years. I bought the Leaf basically because at the time it was the one that was available. I was looking also considering the body Bolt EV, but basically at the time there was 2-month delay to get the Bolt, and I looked at the Leaf. It was in the garage. I actually bought it and got it like the next day or the day afterward, and had the cargo space was for us was more interesting. And why electric? Basically, I have a SUV because it's in the era of time, and I basically most of the time I drive with my wife or around the weekend. So I said, why not getting a smaller car? Then I said, hey, let's get an EV. And this is our get into driving electrical car. Mm-hmm. Also, I work in IT, so I'm in network gig. I love technology. I love wireless technology. March 2020, I'm working from home, and I just love it. So that's
well, by the way, Mario, congratulations on your new job. You just started last Monday, so that's great news. Yeah. And is that still you're working remote on that job as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of, how can I say, if anybody offered me a job and said you need to go back to the office 5 days a week, for me it will be a no. I just got used to work from home.
Right.
So yeah, it's Yeah, like I said, I also last January I put an order for a IONIQ 5. I know I read all your reviews and all the days reviews on it, so I just can't wait to put my hands on that car.
Yeah,
Because
it's a
you know
great car.
it's yeah, and I could see that in the last 4 years, how many more EVs we see on the road. I remember the first month I got my car, every time I was, crossing another leaf or flashing the lights or,
Yeah,
waving at each other. We don't
yeah,
do that anymore because I look like
no,
an idiot. So I kind of
right,
stopped.
right,
So,
right. Well, I'm
that's
gonna go to
basically,
your next slide here. A little bit
yeah.
about you.
So
This is
basically, my favorite hobby, like I said, is I like to watch movies and series. So, and I used to be really big couch potato. And I start running about a year ago and just got the kick out of it. And I've been, alpine skiing or downhill skiing since I was like maybe 10 years old. So this is my big thing. I like to go. I try to go out west at least once every couple of years. I like to go backcountry and I'll do all those crazy stuff that I don't tell my mom about because
right, right.
she won't let me do it anymore. I
Yeah,
took that picture to basically scare my mom because it was saying the area is closed and don't go there and there's
yeah.
avalanche risk and all that thing. So
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, you got to be really careful. It's no joke out there.
no.
So tell me about the cars that you've owned. As were you always a car guy or more of a tech guy or
Uh,
what got you going?
I love cars. I but I remember the first car that I think that I can remember that my dad had was an old 1977 or 78 Chevelle. It was green. I found that car so ugly. And when you're 14, 15 years old and your dad was driving to pick you up at school, that old car was kind of like always trying, no, it's not my dad, it's somebody else's car. And I think that's what started me to love cars. So the first car that I actually really drove was my dad's Pontiac 6000. That was in the, I think, mid 80s. The
Right.
first car that I actually owned was the 1998 Chevrolet Cavalier. Cavalier, I don't know how to say that in English, actually,
Yeah,
exactly.
Cavalier. Yep.
Cavalier. So yeah, that was the first car I got. After that, I think I had two on the Civic because it was my early 20s, so we had to have a Honda.
Yeah.
Then I got kids, so I moved to have a Volks Passat that I had a really love-hate relationship with because German does something amazing with the handling of that car. Driving that car was so enjoyable, was precise, it was a V6, so I had power on it. But on the other end, it was not reliable. So,
Is
every
that the
time,
car pictured is that the car pictured here in the center in the middle?
yeah, the green one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that car was, every time I turned the key, it was trying to figure out will it ever start or not.
Oh
So
no.
it was no reason. It was not because it's cold. No, it's just, yeah, it didn't start. After that, I owned the ultimate family car, which was the Volvo Cross Country 70. That was another car that I loved.
Great car. V70,
I had
right?
yeah, that was built like a tank and drink like one because this car was expensive to run and fuel was crazy.
Yeah.
Then I move on to the Subaru side of things. So I still have it. It's a 2010 Subaru Outback,
Uh-huh.
like the one on the bottom left picture.
Yeah.
I have that car since, yeah, I got it in, I think, August 2009. So I have that car since almost 13 years now and still running, still starting. I don't have that much mileage on it, and still, I think the body's falling apart, but it's still every time I sit and turn the key, it starts. And
Good cars.
no, no,
You've had yours a long time. It's been pretty reliable, I imagine, right?
absolutely. There's nothing crazy broke on it. Now it's 13 years old, so everything this body just his body was falling apart.
Yeah,
Also
yeah.
had a couple of Subaru Impreza, not
Okay.
the WRX, the smaller one, because I want to keep my driver license.
Yeah.
And yeah, finally the nice Nissan Leaf that I proudly pose again, pose beside it.
Yeah, I
So I
see
have that
that.
car since
I
4
love that
years.
picture. That's great. So tell me about this slide here.
So basically, we used to have a cab company in Montreal that was called Theo, who were having electrical car. This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and they were servicing Montreal airport with Tesla. So every time I was flying back from Montreal, I actually looked, and if they had that great app, it was amazing. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt, but they had that great app that you could order the car and you could see, oh, there's a Tesla available the next minute. So every time I was getting out of the airport, I was checking, okay, is there a Tesla
Oh, that's great.
available?
That's great.
And
Yeah.
funny enough, most of the time was a Tesla Model X. And honest to God, for me, if money wouldn't be any object, I would add a Tesla Model X. Just love that car. I love the
Yeah.
wings. I love the doors. I love everything about that car.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's in fact one of my kids, one of the drivers. And when I was getting into that car, the first time I asked the drivers, "Can I sit in front with you?" Because I just love the technology. I looked at the screen and go nuts about it and asking all the questions that about the car. And yeah, that was basically
What
is.
Mario, what is it about Tesla that captures your imagination like that? Tell me what it is.
I think it's the technology in the car, for better and for worse. I I said that I will never own a Tesla because I have some beef with Mr. Musk for personal reason. I I wouldn't. It's like I won't get a Model 3 because there's no heads-up display on it. There's no. This I have to look on the tablet to do everything, and this is for me. This is something that I know when there is a physical switch or button, I want to raise the radio. I don't have to look. I know where it is. Same thing for lights and stuff. And this is how my mind is set on. But
Right.
I just love the car. I think that the technology, the route planning, everything about supercharger. Yeah, you will have
Yeah.
to see it. It's just great. And I think the fact that the for me the Model X is the gull-wing door. For me, that's kind of like the DeLorean. It's like that have
Yes,
that
that's
little
right.
mystique
Yeah, the
because it's
DeLorean,
different.
sure. Someday, what I would suggest to you, this is just me talking to you, Mario. Don't let Elon Musk and his whatever it is get in the way of you at least experiencing a Tesla at one point in your life.
No, I'll just want one.
You're
And oh my
Mario,
God, I
I
love that
you're in
car.
denial. You're in denial.
I
It's
know. Yeah.
you know what?
But
You're a tech guy. You're a geek guy. Come on. You just
I,
go to the store and look. This is what I told my wife years ago when we went let's just go look at dogs today. Let's look at puppies. And of course we came home with one. It's like you can't just go look at them. But I look, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction. You're going to have a Tesla or something other than this Leaf
oh yeah, absolutely.
within because you just got this new job. You're gonna kick some serious butt. You're gonna do great. Within a year and 3 months, you're gonna have a new car. I
Well,
believe that.
hopefully before that, because
Oh,
I
good.
put on an
Wow.
order
All
for a
right.
IONIQ 5. So technically, I should get it in the first month of 2023. I'm really look forward to for that car.
And this is you're getting the
Because
IONIQ 5. Is that on order?
yeah,
And
IONIQ 5 long range, the rear wheel drive.
rear wheel drive.
Basically, I
Okay,
want to
good.
have the autonomy because yeah, my dad, my family live about 160 or around 170 miles from where I live,
Right.
and my in-laws are about 70 mile.
Okay.
So I can do it with the Leaf. In summer I can drive up to my dad's, and when I park in the car, I kind of stop and plug it. I'm lucky because my dad used to be an electrician. So when I bought my electrical car, just, put me a 240 volt, a Gen 2 plug,
Yep.
so I can charge it too. So when I go there, I'm there for more than an hour because it's 2 hour drive. So I
Right.
always get my car fully charged.
So the Model X is on your wish list, and I hear you on that. Tell me a little bit about your EV driving, just in terms of what you do and your motivation
So
for
yeah,
buying.
so basically we bought the EV for as my second car for running daily errand, running Costco and going to groceries and the kids do whatever they do. And my first motivation was, I was tired of putting gas into that, spending money on gas. And I said, hey, why not try that? Yeah, sure. There was, that concern about climate change. We do experience it, start to see it really up here, and also try to extend the life of my Subaru because once again, I work all, I didn't, I got my cross country because I didn't want to have a minivan. So the cross country was the car that I could fit the three kids with their booster seat
Yeah,
and child seat in the back.
yeah.
And when I
Was
move
that was
into
that
the Outback,
V70 was that V70 a three-row wagon?
now it's a two-row. The three was
Two-row.
three was not available in Canada because of restriction. Because we,
Oh,
we
I see.
cannot have someone replace it, something crazy like that.
Got it, right,
So I was
yeah.
able to fit the seat in. Same thing was with the Outback. I was able to see the kids, and now still they can sit the three of them in the back of the car. They don't enjoy it, but it's way better than the Leaf. So that's what I want to do is, stretch the life of my car. So eventually they'll get their own and they'll get their driver's license in their own car. So they won't, you know, commute with dad and mom and dad anymore.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, after 4 years, I have about 50,000 miles on my Leaf, and it became my primary car. I have maybe around 8,000 miles on my Outback. I use it when I have to, when
Right.
we're five, when during winter when I go skiing, because once again, the ski station's just outside the reach of being able to do a round trip during the day. And even though they do have EV charging station at the ski station, most of the time you have to be there so early in the morning to get someone free that
Yeah.
I take the car. And yeah, most of the time I charge at home all the time. Our electricity back home is really cheap, about 6 cents US a kilowatt
Wow,
hour.
that's
So
super
it's
cheap.
it's pretty cheap. So I always calculate at 10 cents Canadian, so around 6 cents US. And
Wow.
we have, in fact, we sell you our electricity a lot. And I know maybe not in Connecticut, but we sell to New York, we sell to Vermont, and most likely, I think we have a project to sell to Boston and Massachusetts.
Huh.
And it didn't go through because we built a line across Maine, and there was a lot of lobbying that stopped it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and that's why owning an EV back home is so cheap, because electricity is it's and in fact too cheap, because we don't consume it responsibly because it's so cheap. We just, I
Yeah,
won't
you
turn
just
the
you
lights
just
off,
go.
or
What
yeah.
what about, in Canada, when you buy your IONIQ 5, what kind of tax incentives do you have up there?
It depends from province to province, but basically we have $5,000 Canadian from the federal government. And in Quebec, if the car is less than, I think it's $55,000, and it's all in Canadian, so at around 40 US, I guess. So we have and now it's 7,000. So
Wow.
if I buy an electric car in Quebec, I have $12,000 knockoff tax in.
Wow.
So
That's
we
great.
tax, but that's pretty good. Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is pretty good deal in Canada, especially in
Yeah,
Quebec.
so this is kind of an interesting slide here. I love this picture on the
Yes.
right. Is this just like a typical, January morning that, you get
Yeah,
up?
well, I actually chose those pictures. So yeah, what is, I'm north, yeah, with great white. So this is those two picture on the right is one of the worst snowstorm we got since I'm in Montreal. That thing was crazy. I
Yeah.
think it was in March. We have our biggest storm usually in March for some odd reason, and this was pretty amazing. So there was about probably near 3 feet of snow that fell that day, the overnight,
Wow.
and but we have more and more freezing rain.
Right.
So on the left, that was one morning we had a big rain, freezing rain
Oh, I see that.
storm,
Yeah. It looked like a chunk
and
of ice
that's
there.
and weather is anywhere from zero. Well, it's 32. I'm in Fahrenheit. I'm in Celsius, both 32 to -10.
How does the Leaf do in the wintertime?
It's actually pretty good. The weight of the car make it pretty stable, even though it's I've been driving four-wheel drive since almost 16 years now with the Subaru and the Outback, with the Outback and the Volvo before that. So I was
Right.
kind of scared when I went back to a front-wheel drive, and I have decent winter tire on it, nothing crazy, and I was impressed on how stable the car is.
You go from a Leaf to, all the way to an IONIQ 5, and you're making a major change in terms of technology, jumping over what I would
Yeah.
consider a good car like the Kona, the Niro, some of those vehicles. So I think you're going to love it. You're really going to enjoy that
And
car a lot.
in fact, last summer I was looking to see, okay, can I, trade my Leaf for, a used Kona or use, Nero, and the price are so crazy. In fact,
Yeah.
you could, the dealer were listing a used Kona more expensive than a brand new one out of the dealership. It was
Yeah.
just
I see you got another picture here with you. You
yeah.
got your,
So
what
basically,
is that?
that's my charging port. So the charge port on the Leaf is on the front,
Yes.
and when during winter, I basically that's an old shirt that I put over the port so it doesn't get filled up with snow. Because
Good trick. I like
if the
that.
thing is filled up with snow and you remove the pistol or the charging pistol, I'm always afraid that snow will fall into the connector and will make corrosion. And if it's
Yeah.
corrosion, will generate heat. And yeah, that's not good. So they actually sell stuff that you can, commercial stuff that you can put over it that are really nice and good looking. But yeah, I'm cheap, so that just does the
No,
trick.
listen, that's good. I thought this is maybe how you guys do your laundry in Canada. I didn't know,
Yeah,
I mean,
we hang up our stuff outside. So
yeah, I mean, it is the Great White North, it's,
that's right.
it definitely is. And
Yeah.
look at that. You got the Nissan Leaf with the license plate. Now,
Yeah,
Je
and
me
is how
souviens.
ugly my car. This is how ugly my car get in during winter, so it's always like that. So because snow and salt and what have you, so I
Yeah.
always I I have an appointment with the car wash every week or so.
Let's talk about charging. You got a 50 kilowatt and a 100 kilowatt DC fast charger.
Yeah, so basically, even though it's very cold in the winter, in the summer can be pretty hot. So mid 80s, mid 80s to 90 degrees. And basically, we have one really major charging network in Quebec, which is called the Circuit Électrique. So it should be electrical circuit. And it's actually owned by the Quebec electric utilities company. So they deployed a lot of those DC fast charger. Unfortunately, they are most of them 50 and 100 kilowatt.
Yeah.
I talked to I a couple of weeks ago. I talked with one of the employee of the circuit pick and asked him, say, why? When will you put more juice up? And he said it's coming, but it's our average charging power is 45 kilowatt hour, 45 kilowatt. So basically, yeah, sure, your car can pull 125 for a short period of time and go down. And most of the car we have home right now are Bolt, Chevy Bolt EUV. We have a heck of a lot of Nissan Leaf. We have Kona and Niro, and we start to have those, more power hungry cars. So it will come up.
Now, the thing is, the 2023 IONIQ 5, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to have battery preconditioning. So,
yeah, it does.
Okay, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Because, just to let you know, my IONIQ 5 was a 2022, and I got it when it was still cold out earlier this year. And when I would pull in and the battery pack was, let's say, 15 degrees Celsius or less, I was pulling maybe 60 kilowatts, and that's it. So,
yeah, that's the beauty of the electric, though, even though they don't have that many, powerful charging station, they have a lot of them, and they really maintain it a lot. So they are reliable. And that's their strength. I wish they would put more powerful station out there, but then we have the Canadian side of Electrify America, which is called Electrify Canada. They are deploying their network right now too slowly to my taste. So they have a couple of them, and we have ChargePoint is there, and there is a oil company that start to install a charging station across Canada. So you could actually drove from the east coast to the west coast using their network. Unfortunately, they don't maintain it. So a lot of the time, the station are not working. But we're getting better. In Ontario right now, they have a new network that's been deployed on the major highway. So now driving around outside of Quebec becoming more and more easy. In the US, Electrify America, I think, is probably the most common network to use. And hopefully their reliability with their new hardware will be better.
So what's the most reliable network, would you say, right now in Quebec?
Circuit Electric, it's the best one. It's really, really reliable. They have a lot of them. Some stations have 450 kilowatt station and two 100 kilowatt station. The two picture I got there, one was the one on the left, the Flow one. It's interesting. It's in a small city in the middle of Quebec, and it's owned by a private paper company, and the charging there is free. The company actually pay you when you go and you charge your car. You pay for the infrastructure and pay for the electricity. On the right side, this is another typical deployment, mostly on more on the region where they have 150 and 100. And a lot of time I actually never really wait at any station. They have enough that I go there, and if it's used, I'll just drive another 50, maybe 30 miles, and I'll get another station that will be free. So
no, that's good. That's definitely very good. And this slide that you put in here, these are all the DC fast chargers. Is this from
that's
what app is this from? Is this from what app did you get this from?
This is from PlugShare.
From PlugShare, okay.
Yeah, and this is all DC charge with all company built in. Most of them are either Circuit Electric most of them are Circuit Electric anyway. And there's a couple of, Electrify Canada, Petro-Canada is the company that was installed did install the DC fast charging. And it's just growing. So in fact, in this summer, I drove all the way to the eastern tip of, there's Maine, there's New Brunswick, and there's that part of Quebec. And I drove all the way there this summer with my car. And it was just easy.
That's great.
Yeah, driving is
and
electrical driving back home is really easy.
What is hold on. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this name right. Circuit Electric. What is
Circuit
their,
Electric, yeah.
how much do they charge per kilowatt hour for the electricity?
They charge per time because of some federal
Oh,
ruling. They are trying to change that right now. So they charge about, it's on DC fast charge. It's, oh God, I don't top of my head. I think it's not $2. Is it? Yeah, it's $2 it is $2 Canadian an hour charged to a minute. So it's actually, it's hard to tell how many, what's the price per kilowatt hour, because it's you there by time, and with my car sometimes it's really hurt me, but it's actually pretty cheap.
okay.
I basically said that it cost me about $1.20 Canadian, so around 80 cents US per 60 mile to run my car.
Oh, that's so
So that's
cheap.
the average. Yeah, it
That
is.
is,
It's
that's
really
that's
cheap.
crazy cheap. You need to export some
Yeah.
of that down to here. We're dealing with, much higher prices than that. I mean, Electrify America, if you buy down the plan for $4 US a month, it's 32 cents a kilowatt hour, which
Yeah.
isn't too bad. I'm curious, in Canada, are the manufacturers, when you're buying, let's say the IONIQ 5, are they giving away any free charging with Electrify Canada?
I think the only one that I know is Volkswagen with the ID4, that I think they give 2 years of free charging.
They do. Okay.
None of the other. For Yeah, I think that what General Motors does when you buy a Bolt EV or Bolt EUV, they will either give you, I think, is $1,500 Canadian to install a level 2 charger at your house,
Right.
or they'll give you $1,500 credit on Flow Network, which, by the
Okay.
way, you can use on Circuit Electric. So that's a heck of a lot of money when you're road tripping.
Yeah, that
And
is.
yeah, I'm actually with you. As it's what everybody that come to me say, hey, should I have a electric car? The first question I ask them, can you have a home level 2 charger at home?
Right. Yeah.
If the answer is yes, go for it. If no, think about how will you charge it overnight. Once again, Circuit Electric have a lot of level 2 charger that are dropped all over the place, that they charge about, I think it's $1 Canadian per hour, so around 60 cents an hour to charge. But when your car is full, until you unplug it, you'll still charge for it.
Yeah.
And there's 2 stations pretty close to my home. They charge $250 Canadian. I don't know how much that this is in. Probably around 170 per session. You're there for 5 minutes, or it's 12 hours. It's 250. This is really
And
cheap.
that doesn't necessarily encourage good behavior either. You go out to
No.
dinner, you're sitting at the restaurant having dinner. Why do you want to go up and get, we were talking about this the other day, Kyle and I and some of my friends, that I'd be willing to pay for faster charging, right? Like I'll step up and pay for it. Look, it's an interesting challenge that's going on
In
right
fact,
now.
what Circuit Electric are doing right now, they are deploying in like shopping malls and near movie theaters, 24 kilowatt power station. So you'll be there for
Right,
2 hours,
and
and your car will
that
be
makes sense.
full.
If you go shopping for 3, 4, you go see a
Yeah.
2-hour movie or whatever. I mean, you don't need it to be super fast in that kind of a
Yeah,
use
and this
case.
will be just fast enough. Your car will charge up in hour and a half, 2 hours. That
Right.
would be great. So they
Yeah.
start those deployment. So I really look forward to see how this will behave. One thing that the
Yeah.
Circuit Electric did is, when you charge over 90% on their DC fast charging, they double the price. So instead of being $2 an hour, it starts to be $4 an hour.
Yeah.
So to get people out.
That's probably the right thing to do. Maybe
Yeah.
even higher.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like, there are situations where you may need to charge to 100% or 95% in order to get to your next destination. I've done that. I've had that. So your road trips here. Tell me about your longest
Yes.
drives and
Yeah. So my longest drive in a day with my Leaf is about 300 miles. So I live in Montreal and drove up to a town called a city called Rimouski and by the river. It's a beautiful. If you ever got the opportunity to come up and do the trip that I did on the ride, it's very beautiful because you are by the sea all the way,
right by the
and very
water. Yeah,
nice
that looks
people,
like a
great
beautiful
food.
drive.
If you like, I guess you like seafood,
Oh, I
great
do. I
seafood,
love seafood.
lobsters, and all that stuff. It's a very
Oh,
nice
say no
place. So,
more. So what part of
so
Canada is that? What where you did the loop there around the water? What is that called
yeah,
there?
so it's called Gaspésie. So it's the easternest part of Quebec, which is basically just like there's there's the Maine. Basically we share border with New York, New Hampshire, Vermont. Not in that order. In fact, it's New York,
Yeah,
Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. A lot of
and
Maine,
Maine, right.
and Maine have this border up north with New Brunswick, and the Gaspésie is just a little bit north of New Brunswick.
Got it.
And
Okay.
this is my longest road trip I did. I did that last summer. It's yeah, like I said, almost
How,
18,000 miles,
what's the
eighteen
infrastructure
hundred
up
miles.
there? Is the Tesla infrastructure pretty good up that way?
They're getting there. They're deploying Tesla supercharger in the area right now. They have some in Rimouski, some in Matane, and there's a long stretch that they have none,
Oh
but they're
wow.
getting there. And if you look on Tesla website, they are deploying some. So this will
Yeah.
open the area. Otherwise, if you have your CCS adapter, there's a lot of circuit
Yeah,
break.
well, that's right. Now I've got the best of both worlds now. I'm all
Yeah,
excited about
yeah.
that. That's
The only thing about Circuit Electric right now is you have to open an account and you have to put credit card money in front. You
uh,
cannot pay with credit card at the DC station, which sometimes I find annoying.
so
Yeah,
let's wrap this up. I know that
that's true.
we've been on here a long time, and this has been a fascinating discussion. And I really, again, want to thank you for putting so much time and energy into, putting your thoughts down here.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us home with this last slide here?
So yeah, basically, do I regret having an EV? No, in fact I should have jumped on the boat before. I think one of the a couple of your guests on that on that your
Yeah,
EV journey is my I it's
is my
I say you
destination.
go, yeah, you might, yeah, exactly, thanks for that. You go at charging station and you make friends, you talk with people, and we all very enthusiastic about our cars. So, and this is what I love about that. And also is when you have an EV, traveling is part of the journey. I take smaller road, I go slower, I enjoy
Right.
more. I discover part of them of part of my country I've never seen before.
Right.
Beautiful little town, great food, and
Yeah.
this is what is really make owning an EV great. Sure, there's downside, but it's just great. Winter is not that funny, but then again, I stop, charge, talk with people, have time, watching a movie, watching. So I'm never in a rush. So that's great.
Right. Yeah.
I won't have, I won't, I don't think I will ever have another ICE car because I don't see the added value anymore. You know, every time
Right.
I go and put gas on my Outback right now, I say, hey, $60 or $120 now because so our gas is about, let me make quick calculation here. So it's $8 Canadian a gallon, US gallon. So it's about, I would say around 5.50, $6 US a gallon. So every time I fill up
Yeah.
my Outback, I say that's kind of like 2 or 3 months of electricity in my car.
I
So
know.
no, I don't like that.
It's crazy. We're here in
And
Connecticut, we're seeing like 3.75 to $4 a gallon for, kind of regular gas. But out in California, it's still very high out there. And it's kind of crazy. For me, I get the whole green thing and I get the whole savings thing. You know what it is about the electric vehicles to me? I just love the way they drive. They're just so
oh yeah,
smooth.
absolutely.
And
And
it's
quiet.
and quiet. And you do what's interesting. I don't know if you experience this, but you hear wind noise and road noise
Mm.
because the engine is not drowning that out. And
Yeah.
so certain noises in electric cars, if they're not properly insulated, become almost like, wow, that car's not that quiet. But it is so quiet. It's just that you don't have any, mechanical noises. And I love
Mm.
the whirring sound, like the George
Mm.
Jetson, like it
Mm.
sounds like a spaceship sometimes, depending on the motors and
And
what they're doing.
instant torque. This is
Yeah.
just amazing. You
So
pull
so
on it and it's zoom.
yeah, no, I get it. And this last question, should you get an EV? I tell everyone, do not get an EV. Please don't get an EV because we don't want to have any more crowds at the EA stations or the Tesla superchargers. But
Yeah,
one thing.
I'm more on the other side to get one.
No, I'm
Don't
teasing.
I have a friend who's actually, in the he's looking at when I got my car, he just went, "Oh my God, I want one, I want one, and I want one." And for many reasons, the size of them didn't fit. And a couple of weeks ago, we come back, "Oh my, I just put money down for to put deposit on IONIQ 5." And okay, which one?
There you go.
Oh, I took the ultimate with everything. Said, okay, you'll wait. You'll wait about 2 years, 3 years to get that car. And you need a big EV because you got a kid and yeah, that is has disabilities, so you need to have that
Oh, I see. Right.
wheelchair and stuff. So I
Yeah.
said, what you should do is you put deposit on the IONIQ 5. Great. Now go put one on the ID4 because I think the ID4 will be a perfect match for you.
Right.
And if you do it now, there's a good chance because now they start to build them in Tennessee. So we have more than, hey, it's Bailey.
There's Bailey.
So
Yeah,
I watch your videos.
yeah, she just walked she just opened the door and came in my office here. Bailey, look, that's Mario. Say hi. What a good girl. Well, Mario, listen, I want to thank you tremendously, A, for reaching out, and B, for putting this awesome presentation together, and C, for speaking English, not French, because I wouldn't have understood anything you said had you done that. And look, your EV journey is a good one. It's a great one. I'm excited for you as far as when you're going to get your IONIQ 5, and I definitely want to stay in touch with you. And again, thank you again for everything. Good luck on your new job. Please make a lot of money so you can buy that Model X someday. And thank you so much for joining.
Well, it's been my pleasure. And by the way, I might get down to Connecticut this summer for some other reason. So if I ever get down there, I'll ring you and we'll try to figure out a way to meet.
Come on by. We'll go for a ride in the Tesla, and I'll let you drive it. And then
I'm
buying one.
That's not a good thing.
All right. Well, listen, everyone.
Thanks for the
Thank
invitation
you so much
again.
for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. Mario, thank you again to you, and everyone have a great time. Take care now. Bye-bye.